Rob from Morty 42 here. Today, we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman 1984. Wonder Woman 1984 is the latest installment in the DC universe of movies and is the sequel to the wildly successful 2017 entry Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins returns to direct and stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, and Pedro Pascal. Now look, I don't want to go too far into spoiler territory, and plus well, if you've seen it, you know that there's some issues. There's some issues with this movie, and there are plenty of threads on Reddit and Twitter that you can read to your heart's content, breaking down the movie, tearing into it. That's just not what I like to do here. I like to look at the movie somewhat from an objective standpoint and try to pinpoint what went wrong or what went right. In this case, not a lot went right. The script to me is wildly uneven. It's almost incomprehensible sometimes from scene to scene. Like how did they get from this place to this place? It almost seems like it's I don't know, like it's not like it's unfinished almost. I mean, it feels like the script needed a couple of more drafts, to try to iron out some of these issues. There are so many contrivances and conveniences in the story that it's kind of crazy. It's just insane to me. I mean, it is. Patty Jenkins had said in an interview not too long ago that she wasn't originally keen on doing a sequel, and on a recent podcast she even said that she almost walked off the film due to salary disputes. And I feel like this kind of bleeds over into the finished film. I mean, it almost feels uninspired. And in a lot of ways, it just doesn't have the same passion that the first film had. Even the CGI seems a bit rough to me. I mean, it looks really, really rushed in some scenes, especially the physics. It's like the physics of running and jumping seems floaty. It almost seems like instead of it being someone who's really strong, and they do this huge jump, and you can see the, and they jump, and then when they land, they land with force. She almost lands with this grace, like almost she's in control of gravity. It was a strange choice. Now, acting wise, Gal does, I mean, perfectly fine. I mean, it would have been nice to get a more attractive person. I mean, someone so homely being Wonder Woman is kind of it's kind of distracting, to be honest. Nah, in all seriousness, she's gorgeous. There's you can't really say much about that. She's a beautiful woman. She does fine with Wonder Woman, but she also feels a little tired, and maybe that's part of the storyline, is that she's been doing this for a long time, and she's kind of over it, and maybe perhaps a little cynical. But I mean, it makes her feel almost uninterested. Chris Pine, I feel like, does what he can with what he has, but it almost feels like he's second fiddle all along the way, almost like he's almost treated in a weird kind of way, the way that some women are treated in, say, Bond films, where they're almost an accessory to the main storyline. Kristen Wiig does everything she can. In fact, my wife actually liked her better when she got the confidence and was actually, being somewhat of a badass. My problem with it was that it felt, the whole story, felt a little undercooked. It just feels like it just didn't seem to work well in harmony with the other threads going on in the movie, and it just felt like it just fell flat for me. I will say that Pedro Pascal really brought it. I think more than any of the other actors, he felt the most at home in his character, and it just he was a joy to watch. He was a lot of fun, and even though I'm not a huge fan of the movie, I feel like he did a really good job with what he had. Look, I mean, I can sit here all day and talk about the problems, up and down. The fact is, for the most part, I kind of enjoyed it, but I do have to mention that if I had seen this in a theater, paid money to sit in a theater and watch it, I feel like I wouldn't have liked it nearly as much as I did at home. It's also a strange thing too, because it almost feels like watching movies or anything new at home, it almost dampens the experience. It changes your perception of the quality of it. Like, I really don't feel like if I'd seen this in a theater, I would have liked it much at all. In fact, I probably would have been maybe a bit angry about the CG problems and stuff like that. It just I don't know. That's an interesting thing that I've been kind of talking about, is that whether or not, getting rid of the theater experience really brings down movies, and it kind of takes some of the shine off of the movie experience. It does make you wonder though, because Rotten Tomatoes actually had this at 89% before the I guess the review embargo, from across the internet. It's kind of strange that once that lifted, it quickly dropped to 69% and is now, as of December 26th, it's sitting at 67%. So it's not doing too well critically. I'll also say that reading through the internet, whether it's Twitter or Reddit or whatever, a lot of people seem to be pretty unhappy with the movie, and some even angry that they wasted their 2 hours. Actually 2.5 hours. But I have to say, I mean, I kind of am wondering how I would rate this movie, because I feel like in a lot of ways it's probably like a 2.5 out of 4. I wouldn't really recommend it. But at the same time, I kind of feel like if you already have HBO Max, then yeah, it's probably worth a try. I mean, what have you got to lose, right? But if you don't have HBO Max, is it worth dropping $14.99 just to watch this? I almost feel it's worth trying it just so you can see what else HBO Max has to offer. Because I still feel like, I'm one of those people that I feel like HBO Max is actually turning into a pretty quality service. So, did you see Wonder Woman 1984? Did you go out in the theaters to watch it? Did you pony up the dough for HBO Max to give it a shot? Let me know down in the comment section below what you think. And if you like this video, please consider hitting that like button. It does help out the channel. And if you're new here, please hit subscribe. There's plenty of content to come. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a happy holiday, and we'll see you on the next one.